Oh, hey guys, this is Raz Schaefer. It's Thursday morning. This week, a good friend of mine had a really bad heart attack, and he's actually still in the hospital. But thank God, he's doing quite well and seems to be on the mend. But one of the things that I thought a lot about as I was spending time in the hospital and helping deal with the doctors and help with the family was about how I deal with a crisis. I've had, sadly, a lot of experience dealing with hospitals and doctors and far too many crises for what I consider myself to be a pretty young guy. But what I've learned through this process is how I deal with it. And for me, there's pros and cons with every way that we deal with crises. It's not just about having the right way. You need to understand how you deal with it, why you deal with it that way, and what the good and the bad is. One of the things I noticed about myself is that when I'm dealing with the crisis, I go head down, feet forward, plow through the wall. And so when that happens, you miss things. It oftentimes lets you be able to focus on what's really important and avoid a lot of the extraneous stuff that's going on around you and sometimes a lot of the emotions, but you oftentimes miss things. And especially that comes down to, for me personally, I often miss what the people around me are feeling. I may be able to task manage very well, but in the process, I don't always deal with the feelings of others very well. And so what I have to know is I know about that, the way I have to deal with that is to make a conscious effort as I'm in that head down, feet forward mode to make sure that I'm not treading upon the feelings of others, especially when they're facing a crisis not unlike my own. A crisis is normally something that you don't deal with all by yourself, especially in the context of a campaign. So transitioning over from talking about heart attacks and families to campaigns and staffs, when you're looking at a crisis, whatever it might be, you got bad poll numbers, or you got a hit piece published about you, or you're having a hard time because you guys made an unforced error on the campaign trail. Whatever it may be, you have to keep that, ideally keep that head down, feet forward mentality, because you can't let it distract you. You can't let it take you off center. But you have to make sure that you're not laser focusing so much on one facet of your campaign that you're neglecting others. That you're not so focused on how you're dealing with it and making sure that your sanity is maintained intact, that you're not looking at the needs of other people on your staff, because you're not dealing with this in isolation. And if you treat it too much like you're the only person on this boat, then pretty soon you will be. You're not going to have many people that want to stand around you when you're in crisis mode if you're going to treat them like they don't matter. So when you're dealing with a crisis, first of all, assess, in the abstract and looking back over what you've dealt with in your life, the different crises that have come up. What are the things that you do? What are your typical responses? For me, the first thing I did that actually really helped trigger my mind onto a lot of this was I took a DISC personality profile. A good buddy of mine, Scott Beebe, he actually does the DISC personality profiles, and we did that through some of the coaching that I had done along the way with him. And so in there, they do three different profiles to show you three different snapshots. One is how you see yourself, one is how others see you, and the other is how you act under stress. And so the way those things change and these different metrics altered in those different three scenarios, it showed me, man, it showed me that I go head down, feet forward, and just plow through the walls when I come up against an obstacle or get into a stress position. And that really started me thinking about the downsides of that and looking back over how I've dealt with crises. So when you're trying to figure out what your downfalls may be, what the pitfalls that you may deal with are, first do some personality testing. Ask the people around you, say, hey, remember the situation? How did I deal with that? And what are the downsides of that? How did what I did affect you? Are there ways I should have handled it differently? Get that input, because those people around you probably have some ideas. I know that I got some feedback from my family when I was asking them about how I've dealt with some of these situations in the hospitals. So first do that. Then start writing down what you think are the good things and the bad things about the way you deal with it. And then make a concerted effort that next time that a crisis comes up that you're having to deal with, small or big, it could be that your plans change. Your wife tells you that you have more chores to do while you're out than you thought you did. Or your dog gets a stomach ache and so it's throwing up everywhere. Or your kid gets some stitches. Whatever it might be, it doesn't have to be world altering, but whatever it is, make a concerted effort to remember that list of things that you need to do, the good and the bad, the ones you need to do and the ones you need to avoid. Remember that list next time a crisis comes up and start practicing pushing away the bad and mitigating those and trying to hang on to the good things that your crisis management style allows you to do. Once you do that a while, that's going to help start creating a habit. And the good thing is, when it comes to the campaign trail, you really do need these things to be second nature, because it's going to be crisis mode a lot. You have to triage a lot of situations. So don't let yourself get caught up in the bad side of whatever your crisis management style is. I'd love to find out what some of you guys do as far as your crisis management style and some of the pros and cons you see with how you deal with those. Put them in the comments, and don't forget to share and turn on your notifications for this live page so that when next time we go live at My Campaign Coach, you'll get the notification and can come watch with us. You guys take care.